And you just want that Jon Jones fight?
Yep.
And then after that, are you done?
Oh, we'll see. I think I'm done after every fight since my first fight. I'm like, do I want to do this? And here I am again.
Did Jon really ignore Tom Aspinall? Recently, fans have been buzzing on social media accusing Jon Jones of avoiding a fight with Tom Aspinall in favor of an easier match with Stipe Miocic. Jones fired back, saying he was shocked by the disrespect aimed at Miocic. But things got even more interesting when a fan leaked screenshots of a private conversation they had with Jones. What did Jones say in those messages? It might just add fuel to the fire of his critics. In the conversation, Jones was said to tweet, "What if he was filthy rich and literally owns not one but 2 small mansions in the same town? What does that make him?" A fan named Will was reported to respond by saying, "All that money in the world and you're still this much of an insecure coward. Limfao." He also added, "Just go fight Stipe, then retire so we can forget about you already. Keep avoiding Aspinall, pal." This message led to an interesting response from Jones. It was said that he replied that he has already agreed to make $15 million in the next fight, and he was about to beat up this old man and ride off into the sunset. He added a sarcastic sentence, "Hope you enjoy watching, Will." There are a few points to consider here. First, Jones claimed that he will earn $15 million for the Miocic fight. This is a huge payday for the former light heavyweight champ. No doubt, a big amount of money like that would be a nice way for Jones to retire. But is he serious? Is he really going to retire after fighting Miocic? It seems likely, guys. By the time Jones fights Stipe, he'll be 37, and he's been talking about ending his fighting career for a while now. So, is he avoiding Aspinall? That depends on your perspective. This year, Ian Machado Gary seems to have had a change of heart. He's now claiming that he's accepted a fight with MVP. But according to the highlight reel striker, Gary is just selling wolf tickets. After Page's successful UFC debut against Kevin Holland, the English fighter called for a bout with Gary. At the time, the rising Irish star scoffed at the idea, since Page is ranked lower than him in the UFC welterweight division. Well, let's jump to the present. Gary told TalkSport that he's already agreed to fight Page at the June 29th UFC 303 card. That's the same event where fellow Irish star Conor McGregor is set to fight Michael Chandler. It's true that Gary has been pushing hard for a fight with Colby Covington, but maybe the chance to fight on the same card as McGregor is too good to pass up. And if Page is the opponent he's been offered, maybe Gary's on board. Putting that aside, a fight between Gary and Page would really boost the excitement for UFC 303, which, as it stands right now, is a bit thin. UFC heavyweight champion Jon Jones shared on X that he wants to fight Stipe Miocic when he returns to the octagon. He said that he had a clear choice: to stick to his plan and fight Stipe, who has many achievements, or to ignore his training for Stipe and fight someone else who might not be important in a few years. He also mentioned that he will not change his plans for anyone. Stipe is working hard to be the best heavyweight ever, and Jones will give him the fight he wants and then move on to whatever comes next. Stipe Miocic said on the Jackson podcast, as reported by Farah Hanoun of MMA Junkie, that he definitely wants to fight Jon Jones. Miocic stated he is willing to wait for the fight and doesn't care how long it takes. The potential hype train refers to 31-year-old interim heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall, who wants a title unification fight with Jones. Miocic was supposed to fight Jones on November 11, 2023 at UFC 295, but Jones had to withdraw in late October due to a torn pectoral tendon he suffered during training. Jones last fought in March 2023 when he won the then vacant UFC heavyweight title against Cyril Gane at UFC 285. Regarding Jones, Tom Aspinall is not just a potential hype train. Aspinall has a strong record of 14-3 overall and 7-1 in the UFC, with 6 of those wins being first-round finishes. His last 2 fights were dominant first-round knockouts over Marcin Tybura and Sergey Pavlovich. The only loss in his recent fights was against Curtis Blaydes, ending early due to a knee injury. Despite Aspinall's impressive record, Jones is often considered the greatest fighter in UFC history. This makes it challenging for any contender, including Aspinall or Miocic, to match him, especially since Jones has only had 1 fight in the heavyweight division after moving up from light heavyweight. Aspinall might face Jones in a unification bout in the future, but for now, Jones is still recovering from his injury and there's no set date for his return. According to ESPN's Andreas Hale, there is no set date for Jon Jones' return to the octagon, but he mentioned that he is starting to get back into fighting shape. Meanwhile, it is speculated that Aspinall will defend the interim title at UFC 304 in Manchester, England, on July 27th. It looks like Aspinall will be back in the octagon first against an opponent yet to be decided. In March, Aspinall said he wants to fight Curtis Blaydes, who is ranked number 4 in the heavyweight division. Aspinall explained on his YouTube channel that he wants to fight Blaydes again because their previous fight ended with his injury, which technically gave Blaydes the win. He said he respects Blaydes, but he feels he owes him a defeat. For now, though, it's clear that Jones wants to stick to his original plan to fight Miocic when he returns. Meanwhile, Jones has had his rivalry with many. Daniel Cormier and Jon Jones are 2 of the greatest UFC fighters ever, and their intense rivalry is often considered the biggest in UFC history. Daniel Cormier is retired, and he and Jones have since made peace and are now on good terms. Recently, Jon Jones tweeted a comparison between Cormier and Aspinall, the current interim heavyweight champion. Aspinall became the interim champion after Jon Jones was injured last year before his fight at UFC 295. In his tweet, Jones said that Tom Aspinall is like a secondary champion, similar to how Daniel Cormier was when he wasn't around. He mentioned that UFC did what they could to keep the event going, but agreed that it might have made some UK fans think Aspinall is the real champion, just like when Cormier was called champion while Jones was away. In response, Daniel Cormier talked about Jones' comment about him being a secondary champion in a recent video. Daniel mentioned that it was Jones who got caught up in things he shouldn't have been doing, which led him to being stripped of his title and removed from the competition. He pointed out that this situation is different from Tom Aspinall's. When Daniel was the champion, Jones couldn't compete because illegal substances were found in his body. Daniel emphasized the need to distinguish between these situations, but he also noted that Jon is skilled at diverting attention away from the truth. So it seems Jon Jones is itching to get back into the octagon, and this time he's eyeing a fight with UFC light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira. Jones, as we know, is a big deal in the UFC, with all sorts of records under his belt, like being the youngest champion ever and winning titles in 2 different weight classes. But Jones has been out of action since last year because of a pesky pectoral injury. Now, though, he's talking about going up against Pereira, saying it could smash some records. If Pereira manages to beat Jones, he'd make history by being the first UFC fighter to hold titles in 3 different weight classes, and also get some payback for the Brazilian fighters Jones has defeated before. Pereira himself seems keen on the idea of facing Jones down the road. So, Conor McGregor, the former UFC champ in 2 weight classes, is back in training mode and gearing up for a return to the octagon. after nearly 3 years away. His last bout at UFC 264 against Dustin Poirier ended in a bit of a disaster when he broke his leg. Now, McGregor has been doing some live streaming stuff with Duel Bits, where he's been chatting with fans and reacting to their questions. During one of these sessions, a fan asked him about UFC heavyweight champ Jon Jones supposedly avoiding a fight with interim champ Tom Aspinall. Conor McGregor shared his thoughts on Jon Jones supposedly avoiding a fight with Tom. He disagreed with that idea, saying he thinks the fight between Jones and Stipe would be huge. He believes there's still a chance for Aspinall to work his way up and to compete for the undisputed title. McGregor praised the matchmaking, saying the fight between Curtis Blades and Aspinall will be good. Do share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Until next time.